Hey guys, I'm Michael.
And I'm CJ.
I'm Ian.
I'm Jenny, and we are charging.
And stuff. Close enough. Welcome. We have changed venue. I don't know if it will get picked up slightly differently on the audio, but we've changed. We're no longer in the stuffy cupboard. We are under a blanket, over a blanket, next to a blanket that's over the window. We're in our room.
We've created a blanket for it so that we could have more than one special guest because this subject deserves more people.
So for the first time in casting and such history in the time that we have been recording, we have two special guests. We have Jenny and Ian, who were on previous episodes with us.
You might know their voices and or faces, depending on if you know them.
And conveniently, we've got them here on the same day, and it's all works out very well.
Totally not recorded all at the same time.
Nope,
Never happens.
This is actually... No, this is actually live. Did they not know that?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's secretly a radio show.
Exactly.
We're going back to our roots.
We're discussing a topic that we all love in different amounts.
And no different amounts about.
No, yeah. And it's that we love it in different amounts because we've been exposed to it different amounts of time. And that is Avatar, The Last Airbender.
It's not The Last Airbender. What's The Last Airbender?
I don't know. Is
What?
it not about...
Who's the last airbender? What? I thought we were talking about the blue people.
Oh, yes. It's...
Those blue people.
Avatar, The Legend of Aang.
Oh, I remember that thing. There was a Last Airbender in it, but it's not Avatar The Last Airbender.
Don't know what that is.
Not a clue.
Avatar, the Legend of Anantini.
Don't ever Google it. Your life will be ruined.
So it's Avatar, The Legend of Aang, that Nickelodeon show that was a show.
It was a show.
Someone else want to take the reins on this one? Tell you what I can actually do. Oh my god! Oh my god! Let's just all speak loudly so Michael doesn't have to hold the mic and it can just stand there like it's meant to.
Oh,
Good, Mike.
I'm not sure how much I like that idea.
Let's get
Shut
cozy.
let's get cozy. Right, so, as with most things that we discuss on a show, we will start off by introducing people to ourselves and the thing slowly by discussing our favourite characters. I think that always seems like a safe place to start.
It does.
Because if people are like, I recognise that thing title, and then you say a character from it, they're like, yes, I do know that.
Yes,
Or that's how I work anyway. Right. I'm not discussing it first. Someone else
go
go.
in alphabetical order. Ian.
Yeah, that's how alphabets work.
Yeah, so I'm just going to say Cabbage Merchant.
I knew you were going to say that. I was looking at a list of Avatar characters and I saw Cabbage Merchant and I was like, I bet you any money Ian says the Cabbage Merchant is his favourite character. And what is his iconic line, Ian?
My cabbages!
Not
My cabbages.
Good. Good. I'm glad you chose a
Also-
character that's got a lot of history. It's got a lot of development.
He crosses between the Legend of Aang and the Legend of Korra, or whatever it's called.
We're just discussing...
We'll stick with the Legend of Aang.
Just Avatar.
Yep,
just now.
just
Too many things.
That's
Too many
all,
things.
that's all. Okay. Yeah, just because there is a bit of a development with that cabbage.
Absolutely.
Cabbage.
The
cabbage.
cabbages sprout legs and become sentient hedgehogs.
No, but I think what you mean is in Korra he has like a cabbage kingdom or something.
Yes, he has a lot more.
Cabbage
yeah.
Corporation.
That's it. Cabbage Korra.
Cabbage Corp.
I think that's what it is, isn't it?
Cabbage Corp.
I think it is.
Cool.
He loses his roots as the cabbage merchant.
Okay.
Do cabbages have roots?
I don't know.
Don't ask questions you don't want the answer to.
True.
My favourite character is Sokka.
Because you like socks.
I do. No. Sokka because I relate to him a lot. Because I like swords.
And puns.
And
puns.
boomerangs.
And boomerangs, and I'm also a little bit of an asshole.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Awkward silence because nobody disagreed.
Yeah, it's fine.
Is
Jenny,
it? Okay.
favorite character?
Yeah, I'm going to probably fall into the fangirl category because my favourite character is probably Zuko.
Nice.
Yeah, for
That's-
many reasons. But there's, I have multiple different characters. I also very much like Azula, but for very different reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I
but
think-
yeah, we'll go with Zuko.
In this, it's sort of like we've all got a favourite character, but there's so many characters. Like I had to pick a list out. I had to pick out 5 characters of like I love these all equally, but who's better than them all?
Who's better?
CJ, favourite character.
Right,
Say the
my
word.
favourite character is Iroh. Because he's fat and he likes tea, and that's me.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
It's,
it, yeah.
He is a wise man, which I am not, but I do love a good wise phrase. In fact, Jenny used to play a character in D&D whose favourite thing was to spout
Nonsensical
literally
phrases.
like wise phrases, some of which I think were literally from Iroh.
Well, most of the time, the point of my character
It
in
was
D&D was that
misusing
it was nonsensical phrases.
Yeah.
So quite often I googled like Iroh phrases and then just totally massacred them.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my character's favourite thing to do was write them down as if these were the absolute pearls of wisdom that she needed to get by in life. But yeah, just from a development point of view, from a growth point of view, from his backstory that we learn really, really slowly, to the way he interacts with other characters, to the fact that his dream in life is to own a tea shop and he achieves it, and it's a really good tea shop. So yeah, that is my fave peep. Is
That is
Iroh.
He also gets
That is me.
buff.
He does.
Yeah, he
he
does.
gets super buff.
Yeah.
What is it he uses to like pad his stomach again? To like pretend he has a stomach and doesn't have a 8-pack.
A pillow or no? I didn't have a pillow. I don't
I
know.
don't remember.
There's no pillows.
He wears a fake fat suit basically
Yeah,
to
something like that.
pretend he's not buff. Anyway,
In actual fact, he is the buffest.
he is super buff,
Good.
which is not me.
You.
Well,
Well, that was fun.
Join us next time.
That was like the quickest quickfire round of favourite characters ever.
I know, but again, it's because like there's so many other characters, but I think it was just a matter of who is the favorite. Go, go, go.
Okay.
Like I kind of love Boomy.
Oh,
Yeah,
King
I was
Boomy.
tempted by Boomy.
Boomy's pretty great
Yeah.
because he knows like the 317 different chakras or whatever they are.
Yeah. Oh.
There's
Is it-
7.
I was gonna say, is there not like 7 or
No,
8?
there's more than 7.
There's 317
Yeah, because
apparently.
he's like actually there's so many other hundreds and something like that, but forget about those.
Fair point.
Yeah, it's pretty much a thing.
Everybody does. Everybody does
Yeah.
forget about them. So on a favourite character related theme,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask you to quickfire give me an answer to a very stringent debate. Momo or Appa? Who's best? Michael?
What?
Momo or Appa?
Appa.
Appa.
Definitely Appa.
Definitely Appa. Okay,
Good.
I'm glad the debate's settled.
Unanimous.
Well, that wasn't so much of a debate
mean-
as a everyone say Appa.
Well, that's the thing. I was like, really quickfire, like, don't
Yeah.
even think about it. I should have my Appa plush in here to cuddle.
You should.
We constantly have a Appa plush like in our bedroom anyway, so that's kind of just being a staple.
We have a Momo too, though.
Yeah, no, but Momo's not like Momo's kind of just.
What's
Where's
Momo
Momo
hanging
at?
from right now? 'Cause
Nothing,
it used to
because
hang
we've
from the
just
light in
moved
your
house.
kitchen.
Yeah, that'll need to
Actually,
be
whenever I get
reinstated.
back, I'm going to hang Momo up in the kitchen.
Yay! Don't hang Momo. I know he didn't win, but no, he did say hang up, not hang.
Yeah.
He's not that cruel. Momo's great in Momo's own way, but Momo will never be Appa.
Yeah.
No.
Right. So of the original benders, so each type of bending has its own original one. What's everyone's favorite original like type of bender? So there's the sky bisons for the air nomads,
Badger
the
moles.
moon for the
Water, tribe.
the badger moles for the earth kingdom, and the dragons for the fire nation.
Yeah, but badger moles. I was just really just providing some information for you, but yeah, as we discussed in the probably previous episode, I'm Hufflepuff.
Probably.
Yep.
So
In a
Yeah.
previous episode, who knows?
a previous episode. Yeah, so I'm going to go for badger moles, and yeah, just badgers.
Yeah.
Badger, 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 mushroom, mushroom.
Jenny?
They seem like back.
I like Sky Bison. To be honest, I would quite like to have my own Sky Bison. They're just very practical.
Me
Yeah,
too.
there's many sky
I mean, you have
do.
Ian.
He's not a Sky Bison.
No, he's,
He
I
can't
know.
fly.
he's just a small
As
fluffy
discussed.
cow.
Small fluffy cow.
Ian is the Highland cow of people.
I'm just a bison. I get a small.
Fair enough.
Cannot fly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, it's the Highland cow.
Yeah.
What about you, Michael? Is it dragons by any
It's
chance?
dragons. It's obviously dragons. I love dragons.
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 Dragon. I can't decide, which is why I kind of hung back till last
You
there.
stuck with the moon.
That's rough, buddy. No, do you know there's something about the moon, and it's not because of the type of bending it's related to. It's because it's the only one that's not like an animal, so it's
Yeah.
the only thing that's different. And part of me really likes that, but part of me doesn't. It almost feels like, I mean, the moon makes total sense. It literally water bends.
Yeah.
That is what the moon does. That's why it's the original bender. But I kind of feel like, could they not have had like the moon and then like picked an animal like an otter or something?
Or a shark.
Because like I know dragons are firebenders, but the sun firebends kind of like
But there are the sun. What are they called again? Like the
sun warriors
yeah,
or something like that.
So they are kind of
Yes.
like the.
I remember.
The
those.
firebenders that take their power from the
Meme
sun.
They're the
videos. Shark
dancers.
Warriors. That'd be good.
They do some dancing.
Cool.
But yeah, I'm kind of torn. But then obviously I like Sky Bisons because Appa.
Yeah.
Appa. So I don't know. I am going to cop out and say I can't quite decide between the Sky Bisons and the moon. Although I feel like the moon's been totally left out by everyone because everyone's picked the other nation's bending. Yo.
That was not planned.
I know, but it works out quite well.
Yeah.
It would make us an excellent boomerang gang.
It's
Eh.
just bang. Eh.
Let's not. Good times.
Next question.
It's not an interview, Michael. I'm not wearing my interview suit.
I am.
I'm wearing my pajamas almost.
Okay.
I always wear my
Should we get to the big one?
Right, do it.
If you were to be a bender, what type of bender would you be,
And why?
and why? Let's go in alphabetical order. Jenny.
Yeah, so I would be a firebender. I kind of struggled with the idea as if it's like an identity crisis. Yeah, the
It took
first
me a while to realise that I was a firebender.
I couldn't be a firebender because I wasn't a Gryffindor and only red things go together.
yeah, well, that,
No.
then I would just be like a green bender. I don't know.
You could.
What are you
Like the
going?
Green Power Ranger crossed with
Well,
like
that would
the
be
Avatar.
that would be Earth, wouldn't it? I was thinking of Earth as brown. Right. Anyway,
In terror.
moving on. Yeah, so I thought it would be fire or Earth. I kind of am equal parts stubborn. Definitely firebender.
I can imagine you being a firebender.
I
That's
like
all.
to think so.
Right, so following, I'm just going to be a badger mole.
Just actually a badger mole.
Yeah,
not-
just
I'm not even an earthbender, I'm just a badger mole.
No, I was actually thinking. Also in that episode, we were saying about I would be a dwarf.
Yes.
So yeah, I'd already chosen earthbending.
A dwarf badger mole.
Dwarf badger mole.
Does that just mean that you're a smaller badger mole?
Yeah.
You're like a stubby.
With a Scottish
badger.
accent
Yeah.
and an axe.
And a beard.
A ginger badger mole?
A ginger talking badger mole.
Yes.
That rides a pig.
Yes.
A war
Yes.
hog.
A war boar.
Warboard.
Oh, God.
We're already hitting madness.
What about you, Michael? I
Fire-
totally don't know.
Fire, but specifically lightning. I wouldn't be happy until I'd mastered lightning bending.
Zuko doesn't really do lightning bending
No,
ever.
no,
He
but
redirects
Nor
it
is
once.
Zula.
It's more the fact that
This is
they
more
like
of-
try and
This
you
is more of a
couldn't do it.
defensive thing, but again, even with Azula, hers is like, I see it less as lightning, more as like just blue fire. So it's like kind of a plasma kind of thing between the fire and
I think Mako from Korra is the ultimate lightning bender because he actually seems to use that as like a primary a lot of the time, whereas
Yeah.
the rest of them seem to
And then you've also
use it
got
less.
Ozai,
Yes, of
who's
course.
pretty badass.
Pretty psycho.
Yeah.
So basically what you're saying is you're a psycho
Yes.
who likes to bend lightning.
Yes.
Good. Good.
Moving on.
So I have a question, sorry, about lightning bending
Yes.
that I can't remember. So I remember when Iroh was trying to teach Zuko to like deflect to the lightning bending,
Yes.
but I can't remember if this is also the way he teaches him to try and lightning bend, where it's like it's a water bending technique where like you let it flow through you. Is that also to direct lightning
I think
as
that was
opposed to redirect it, or was that just
I
redirecting?
believe it was just the redirection.
Because I can't
Because
remember.
I
Zuko
don't
was
think it explains just the direction, like lightning.
because not even not Zuko, Ozai is obviously his whole thing is just lightning. He's essentially the Darth Sidious of
He is.
Avatar. But he just creates it, and he doesn't seem to me like the kind of person that would be willing to learn the ways of a water tribe to
Yeah.
be able to create lightning. So I think it's also it is the kind of fluid motion of going in one side and out the other. It's all kind of in that one fluid motion.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
So
it
you're
is just
not
the
doing-
redirection.
You're not actually producing it at all, so
Yeah.
there's no need to do that. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
just you're being a conduit.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've actually watched Avatar, and it's the one thing I can never remember is whether we're told. Obviously, you know, they don't sit you down, pause the episode, and give you like a structured diagram on how the bending works. But I just can't remember if it was ever explained how lightning bending works and how you go from fire bending to lightning bending.
I feel like somewhere in the back of my head that they possibly do explain that at some point, whether it was in the original series or not, but I can't exactly remember how.
Yeah,
So-
can't remember how
But
it's
like
done.
that blue, like you're saying about the blue fire being plasma, is that sort of maybe a
And in between,
yeah,
It
like
Could
an
just be
in-between
very
fire
hot
and
fire.
lightning? Yeah, it could be.
Or it's very kind of directed fire, very like
Yeah.
Like a Bunsen burner.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've not used a Bunsen burner in so long.
That's blue fire.
That's true.
Mm.
I think it's suitable temperature.
Anyway.
Possibly. Could be
You can
talking
tell
about
that we've not like super in-depth researched or rewatched Avatar for discussing this. Because if we were just having a chat one night, like we wouldn't research it to have the chat.
Yeah.
The chat is if we're gonna like tell you about the birds and the bees in Avatar.
Let's have the chat. CJ,
Yes.
go.
I would be a waterbender for two reasons. One, I like the style of bending, how it's very fluid and the water is an extension of you and it's very, like the element of like, whee. Nobody can see that I'm like swaying violently on the pillow. But yeah, and also I quite like the healing aspect of it and how it almost seems very soothing. Because water seems like, something it would like soothe a burn or soothe an injury, and that's how it relates to healing. But also, you can literally weaponize it and turn it into an ice shard spear thing.
Or bloodbending.
Yeah, or there's like the slightly more interesting subsects of water
Do you
bending.
think you'd be tempted by that?
I think I would be tempted by something like bloodbending, but from a like trying to work out how to use it in a healing point of view. Because I feel like there has to be a way to utilize it in healing.
Yeah.
I just, off the top of my head, I'm not clever enough or creative enough to think about how, and I'm also probably not good enough at anatomy, other than, like, drawing blood away from a big open wound
Yeah, I was
to
gonna
stop
say-
bleeding out. That's the only use of it I can think of, but there will be so much more.
Can you not, like, I guess could you not,
Could you just not?
in a
Could you just not, please?
in a similar way to like redirecting the blood from an open wound, could you not force it to clot?
Probably.
If it depends, because you're basically controlling the liquid that is in the blood, not the actual blood cells in it. So obviously you're not
You
not
could-
controlling the platelets.
You could stop the blood from reaching the brain. Yeah, that's your killing ways. So
Yeah.
could you also then, if there is a clot,
Redirect it, like
Who
force
knows?
it out.
it's going to be...
Yeah. I feel like there would be uses for it, but I would hope I would never use it as a manipulative type thing.
Think about the practicalities for women. All I'm saying.
No, yeah.
It's got to come out somehow, though. You don't want that all sitting inside you.
No, I don't mean forever.
Just like a weird build up, and all of a sudden you're this like overly hemoglobin filled blob by the time you're 40. That is a glorious mental image for everyone, and I'm going to move off that very, very swiftly.
Ian, is there a type of a subset of bending that you would pick up, be it earth bending or any others?
Well, and I'm interested by the lightning bending, but I think I'd probably go for lava just because that's
Because Bolin, by any chance.
Well, not just because Bolin. Bolin's pretty cool, but
You remind me a bit of Bolin.
really,
Yeah, a little bit.
a little bit.
You're not funny enough.
No, I'm not.
To be honest, I thought you would have chose metal bending because you're a dwarf.
Yeah. I mean, again, like I'm partial towards it, but more
Yeah,
lava.
fair enough.
Can't be a old dwarf.
Well,
Well, it could be, but I can't be.
Well.
Jenny, would you just stick with pure fire bending, or would you delve into combustion or lightning? Or...
Sparky, sparky,
Yeah,
boom, boom,
I
boom.
don't know, like combustion doesn't really interest me very much. I think lightning has its practicalities, and
I think
again, as we see in Korra, they use it for like powering things and energy generation. But yeah, I think that would be quite interesting. In terms of the other ones, I think healing is very useful. It's obviously the complete opposite of fire. They don't go together, but I think it's probably the most useful of the other ones.
Yeah.
Don't see sandbending being very useful, for example.
Unless you live in a desert. It's about the only time I can imagine it being useful.
Yeah. As they use in that episode with the sand temple and the giant owl bird thing in the library.
We don't talk about that part of the season because that leads to sadness.
Yeah.
Which actually goes quite swiftly into one of the other segues are weird. One of the other topics that I thought it would be nice to talk about, which is your least favourite character. And
we basically come up with anyone who was harmful to Appa. So mine,
that was
mine, mine was the circus man who imprisoned him, and yours was the
Long
ones-
Feng, who was like the head of the
The sand
Dai
people.
Li.
There is no war in Sing City.
Yeah, and he basically
have,
stole Appa to get leverage from the Avatar to do things, and he was mean to Appa, and he hurt Appa, and he kept Appa prisoner, and he deserves to be buried.
Yeah.
Or squished by an Appa. Appa should land on him and squish him.
Well put.
He makes me angry. I don't like it when people are mean to other people, but I especially don't like it when they're mean to aminals, especially Appa.
Exactly. You know who else has been squished?
Who?
Jet.
Oh, yeah. Jet.
Oh, Jet. Is he your least favourite character, Eggnog?
Yeah, I would say I really don't like Jet. It rubs me the wrong way.
He rubs you the wrong way. Why is he rubbing you, Ian?
Don't know. Shouldn't be. Tell him to go away.
I asked him to leave, but he
Asked
didn't.
him politely.
What I liked about the way that they did that is that, like, obviously it's a kid show. It's showed on Nickelodeon. There's certain things they're obviously not allowed to do, and then the fact
They
that they
still
just
did it.
they just poke the fun at it. They're just like, did Jet just die? It's like obviously can't show that on a kids' TV show, but it's like, yeah, just how to poke fun openly at the fact that they can't do what they want to do
Yeah.
to the full extent. I like that.
It's never released where they're like, oh, Jet died. It's like, I don't think so, at least.
I know, I don't think it's
Yeah.
ever specified. It's just very heavily implied.
Yeah, we just kind of know that.
Yeah, kind of
Yeah,
like a lot of things. But yeah.
exactly. Jenny, least favourite character? I think you're the only person that's not given us.
Yeah, I don't like May. She annoys me.
She was quite high on my list until I was like, but actually, in her own way, at the end, she kind of is a bit badass, but just.
She's badass. I just don't like her.
Yeah.
She just annoys me. She didn't do anything for a reason. She doesn't even like she has her own agenda. She just is really boring.
Is it because she gets with Zuko?
No, well that annoys me in the comics as well. Jeez. Anyway, we'll not talk about the comics.
Miko.
Mako, yes, that is the ship name. Yeah, oh gosh, it's awful, but just, yeah, she's just boring. I just don't really, I would have thought that a woman with knives that can totally hold her own would be the kind of character I would like, but I really don't like her. She's just very boring.
Her apathy is a bit annoying as well. Like, it's not even like she's really apathetic and does nothing, but like that's her reason is because she doesn't care, but like she actually gets involved and does things, but then is apathetic. You're like, pick a side. Either be apathetic or be like involved in it. So she's the definition of a whatever team.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And then it makes it a shock when she does eventually like get with Zuko, and then he breaks her heart, and then she suddenly cares so much, and you're like, you cannot keep going from being a whatever to caring that much. It's confusing for everyone.
And then they get back together, and in the very first comic, she leaves him. Like,
Ah.
right at the beginning, like one of the first scenes. That is possibly a spoiler. But yeah, it's like, it's just always toing and froing, and then there's a whole trilogy in the comics that's to do with her kind of, she has like her own, storyline,
Yeah.
which also Zuko is involved in, and it just annoys me. It's just like, this is really not necessary.
Fair enough.
But yeah.
So I think we should get onto, I don't know if you would consider it heavier chat,
Ooh, heavy.
but the themes. Like the themes that you come across, not necessarily like there wouldn't be sort of one per season or anything like that, but there are sort of like big themes that come across with the characters in that show. Watch your head on the desk.
Desk is a bit
I really hope the mic picked up that clunk. But there was 3 sort of big themes that I managed to pick out, and feel free to add in any other ones, but the 3 ones that I got were trust, growth and maturity, and redemption.
You're missing the key theme, Michael.
Cabbages?
No.
What?
My honour!
Shut up.
pretty key theme.
I mean,
It is the key theme.
Well, that's what I'd consider in redemption, because Zuko's kind of the main character who gets redemption.
He redeems.
he redeems his honour.
He redeems his honour. He is exiled,
His honour was always his own.
and then
Exactly.
he gets it back.
Yeah.
He never lost it.
Trust is sort of the big one with, like, if you spend enough time... Well, Zuko when he joins them, but, like, if you spend enough time with some people, you do learn to... You do eventually get sick of certain people.
Michael stares at CJ. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine, obviously, like, especially with the sort of weird triangle that was going on. Not even, like, a love triangle, obviously, because Katara and Sokka are brother and sister, but you've got,
Ew.
like, the sibling sort of... Not even rivalry, but the siblings can get annoyed with each other. Katara and Aang are always like they're worrying about bending, so Sokka feels left out, and then Katara might feel left out because Sokka and Aang are both like guys, and then Aang might feel left out because Sokka and Katara are both waterbenders. So, like, things would get frayed there.
Yeah, I think one of the things about trust as well that comes up is obviously because the group has the Avatar in it, there's a lot of people that are a threat to them, but obviously they need the help of a lot of people and they meet a lot of different types of characters. And it's the sort of, they're still kids, so learning as a kid which adults or which other people to trust. Because obviously they needed an earthbender to teach Aang to earthbend, and it wasn't the person that it wasn't King Boomy, who was someone that Aang already knew and trusted. Like, it ended up being a complete stranger to them. But that worked out really well for them. And like Sokka learned from different people and Katara learned waterbending, and it just, the number of different people they had to learn to trust.
Yeah.
And the fact that they had to learn to trust them or they wouldn't have got where they got, I think that was quite interesting.
Yeah.
Especially because they are kids in essence.
Yeah, which obviously sort of lends itself to like growth and maturity.
I think that with trust as well, and also kind of into a bit of a manipulation, is the whole thing with Zuko and his dad, which is that obviously the family dynamic, and I don't know if it is so much trust, but in that he is always, it is a trust thing or a following thing where he always thinks that his dad is right and all the rest of it, and he's like betrayed and manipulated.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of heavy stuff that goes on there with not a good thing.
Well, I suppose it is a trust thing because it's a betrayal. Mm-hmm. So it's trust that you're betraying, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean, who does that to their own kid?
Yeah.
And by that we mean he literally like shoots him in the face.
Yeah.
And then makes him believe for the rest of
Was
his
it?
young life that he was wrong and he needs to be better.
Yeah, and
And
Zuko the
all
whole
of
time
that.
was like, "Oh, I need to get back in my dad's good books," and you're just
No, you
like,
don't.
"No,
You don't. That's not what you need to do.
I must capture
That's
the
opposite of what
Avatar
you
to
do.
regain my honor.
No.
That whole thing about right and wrong and how,
yeah,
it was a very warped sense of that.
It is. And I think, again, it's because he's a kid. So it's
Yeah.
just that influence of older adults on a kid.
It does write itself though, which is nice. By the end of it, he's like,
Yeah.
okay, he's not a nice person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it writes itself because of him, because he grows and
Yeah.
matures. Admittedly, with the
But-
gentle guidance of Iroh,
Yeah.
who is the ultimate influencer and guider
And
on
tea drinker.
and tea drinker and songwriter. And
And
he has
some
his
other
own
good
sad
phrases
stuff.
for phrases.
And he grows as a person throughout the series. But I mean, obviously, the main theme of like growing and maturing is related to the fact that they're kids.
I wouldn't say it's the best songwriter in the series, though.
No, that lies firmly with the Secret Tunnel songwriters.
Secret Tunnel Man, yeah.
Secret tunnel.
Secret tunnel through the mountains. Secret,
Guys.
secret tunnel.
Guys, let's stop. We don't want to get a copyright strike here.
Yeah, we're that good at it.
Yeah.
We're so accurate with our depiction of it.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you for everyone who stayed listening through that rendition of that song. It is never translated well.
Maybe we should barbershop quartet it.
Go back to the verse.
Secret.
Tunnel.
Tunnel. Goes back to napping. Anyway, so yeah, those are the best songwriters.
Yeah. What other fun stuff is there from Avatar? Ember Island players.
Oh man.
Oh, the Ember Island players. How terrible. But how
great.
glorious.
I mean, they got the scar on the right side.
Yeah.
Scar is not on the wrong side.
Oh dear. I think it was quite appropriate though. Like, that is, if they tried to do it well, if it had been anything other than like a terrible.
It's basically fan fiction. They probably
Yeah.
actually did go and read
Yeah.
the fan fiction,
Right.
pick out their favourite bits and put them into the Ember Island players.
I have read much better fan fiction than the performance that the Ember Island players did.
But I'm going to be
They
honest.
picked the wrong fan
They
fiction.
didn't
that's
say
probably
they were using good
deliberate.
fan
Yeah, that's
fiction.
true.
Yeah. And we all know that they like to poke fun. The writers like to poke fun at certain groups
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
fandom.
Oh yeah.
And they do it quite well, and it is fairly well received. Like, obviously, we've all, apart from maybe Michael, had our shot at reading some fan fiction, but like, we weren't massively offended by the fact they were basically insulting us. Like, it's fine. Oh,
Good nature.
Ian's like, I disagree. I am personally affronted.
I was agreeing.
Yeah,
It comes across.
it just comes across. You're too laid back. That's the problem.
Yeah. Horizontal.
Absolutely horizontal.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, favourite ships from the series? Michael's not really a shipper. Do you have a ship from the series?
No, not one that's no.
Not one that's
No, I don't. No.
okay.
I don't-
Fair dues.
The one that Zuko and Iroh are sailing on at the beginning.
I was literally trying to
Yeah.
remember the name of that, and I was like, I can't remember the
friendship.
name of
The
any
friendship.
boats.
That's probably a ship.
Oh, it probably is. Ian, you love a good ship.
Yeah, mostly hardboard ships, to be fair.
Yeah.
I suppose if I had to go for one, it'd probably be Kanang, but I'm not too fussed about it.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you're a
I'll-
Katara Aang shipper.
Yeah, I have no strong feelings with it, but
Right,
if I had to go
yeah.
for one, yes,
What about your minor characters though?
main characters.
The
Oh,
Cabbage Merchant
Cabbage.
and...
Do me.
that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, but I'm sure it exists as a ship.
Somewhere. It has to.
The Babbage Merchant. This is why I don't come up with ship names. Jenny? Ship?
Babbage.
Yeah, there's been no news to anyone that I shipped Zatara for like a long time.
Oh yeah.
Steam babies!
Yeah, I mean, I
Steam
kind of calmed down a
babies.
bit recently on that one.
Yeah.
Somewhere in my heart, when reading the comics, there was some sort of Tokka stuff going on, which is totally wrong in terms of the series. But I think once they grow up a bit, that could be quite nice. But I also like
Oh,
Suki
yeah,
and
actually,
Sokka. I think that's like the
Yeah.
Yeah,
best.
it's pretty cute.
So yeah, that was always a war in my heart of which one do I like the most.
I think
But yeah.
Avatar's probably been the only like fantasy series that I've become part of that I've not had any real strong shipping opinions of. Apart, well, for Legend of Aang, when we get to Legend of Korra, that's a totally different thing. But yeah, Steam Babies. I think Steam Babies should be a thing. Just saying.
Even if you don't go with that, like just
Yeah, like
Katara
even if
and Aang is just not. A
no,
thing.
it's just not. It's not. I no.
I
Just
always pictured Aang being like just completely. Well, I suppose obviously he's always got that romantic feeling towards Katara, but I would have liked it if he was just completely asexual throughout the whole thing.
He's more important things to worry about.
Yeah.
I just kind
the
of-
world.
I just think Katara was. These are the arguments that everyone has always used a million times, but she's like the mum of the group, and he's also like significantly younger than her, which is why the Toph Sokka thing is weird as
I
well.
mean, he's also like 100 years older.
But not really.
Not really, but kind of like yeah.
Yeah.
but he acts like a 12-year-old.
Technically.
Yeah.
And Katara obviously has other love interests of her own, and she has the thing with Jet, which I don't like Jet either.
Yeah.
But like, yeah,
Does
and then
anyone
there's
like Jet?
No.
what was the other guy called? The Earth Kingdom guy.
Oh, that guy, yeah, I don't remember, but I don't
Haru. That's like kind of
That
thing
sounds,
as well.
yeah, that sounds
Um,
about right.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, if you even if you completely
Kangaroo.
avoid all of those Zatara theories out there,
Yeah.
yeah,
there's
I mean,
better.
Katara's got her own agenda, and then she obviously says no to Aang, and then he totally ignored her wishes, and
And
then
that's
suddenly 4 episodes later, everything's magical
Yeah.
because that's what happens.
because that's what happens when you're the Avatar. You get the girl.
Gay.
Even Korra does that.
Exactly. That's what I say. All the Avatars get the girl. Canon. They don't put the girl in a cannon, but yeah. Moving
Well.
on.
Interesting plot twist.
fanfiction.
I love a good fan fiction. So it's something that we've briefly touched on is like the subsets of bending. But are there any that you're like, yeah, I approve that as a fantastic subset, or any that you think are used very well? Are there any that you're just like, I did not see that coming?
I think a lot of the subset stuff comes in Korra because I think in Aang they are very much just kind of
In their
figuring out
experimental stage,
how
yeah.
to do with them all, whereas in Korra you
Yeah.
can see how a lot of them are used and how that's kind of developed.
I like the episodes where Toph like discovers like, oh, metal bending is like
Yeah.
it kind of came out of nowhere. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And I quite like the fact that obviously the whole point of earthbending is like stubbornness, and you have to move the ground. The ground
Yeah.
can't move you. So it's the fact that it literally is the strength of her will that actually like creates metal. Creates the right word? Did she create metal bending, or did
Yeah.
she
Yeah,
discover
she
it?
did. I think she discovered it. I don't think it's been used before.
Yeah.
Toph uses it.
So it literally is like it's the strength of her will to get out of that metal box that discovers metal bending. I quite like that that's how it was found, and not just, I was experimenting and this is what I come up with.
See, what gets me is we've got spirit bending with water, whereas obviously, like, you've got the spiritual projection which goes with air bending. So, like,
But that's a Korra thing.
yeah. But I can always see, like, the whole idea of like spirit sort of ties in with energy, so always kind of associate with just airbending.
Yeah.
So always kind of associate, because water's got a lot going on. You've got your water bending and ice bending, blood bending, plant bending as well, which is in there for some reason, and the healing. Mm-hmm. So like air is just really air bending.
Yeah.
And that's it. So
Mr.
I really
Zahir.
like. Pardon?
Yeah.
Mr. Zahir.
Yeah.
So far.
And then you've got your flight.
Jafar.
But I really like the idea of putting, energy and aura into that as well, because you would feel air just like as a sort of flow and movement kind of thing.
I really like plant bending, especially because it is introduced in Legend of Aang.
Yeah.
And it's basically, I would say, we see the swamp folk before we see any other types of subbending. So it is the first type of subbending. But I like the fact that it looks like it borders between water and earth, but it is very much water bending.
Yeah.
I really, really like that. And I also like the fact that they're so chilled and laid back, and they are actually like swamp monsters when they
Yeah.
bend all the plants.
Yeah, just like
They are. I think it fits very well with the whole water being like the changeable, flexible element, and the fact that they are literally just like 1 minute I'm a swamp monster, the next minute I'm playing catch with a vine. I lost
You
my
did
train
it.
of thought there. As happens with me, but no, I like plant bending, and I like that that's the first thing we were introduced to, because it's one of the more out there. Like, you wouldn't think, I know what I'm going to do with the water in this plant. Make the plant wiggle.
But then as you see, like, later on, the waterbenders are very, like, resourceful in that
Yes.
Katara uses her own sweat when she has nothing else to waterbend. She, like, rips all of the water out of plants as well.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of kind of...
I just like the fact that the cities are just floating ice, pretty much. Like,
Yeah. Oh, you mean the Northern Water Drive?
Yeah.
City, yeah. Yeah.
So no, I think it's quite cool.
I'll stick with
Um,
lightning bending.
Yeah. I thought you might.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty.
It's fair enough though. It's very you.
Yeah. No.
Dragons and lightning.
I've always been a fan of just lightning and like the manipulation of it, particularly in like it kind of dates back to Final Fantasy.
Okay.
Like my favorite kind of material was always like thunder or Thundara. Yeah. So that's where that stems from.
You got a fave, Jenny?
I don't know. I definitely... There's different applications for all of them. I don't know. I think lava bending was like came out of nowhere and we were like, oh gosh, that's pretty cool. Like,
Yeah.
I definitely, yeah, like I said earlier, I think the most useful one is going to be healing, but the one I would probably use would be lightning. But that's probably just only because I went with fire. So
Well, there's also like heat,
yeah,
the kind of heat bending.
Yeah.
So you could
Yeah.
do lava as well.
yeah.
One of the things I was surprised at was combustion bending, because it hadn't occurred to me when I was watching Sparky Sparky Boom Boom Man that he was fire bending. Even though we sent from the Fire Nation and it was bits of fire that he was shooting, it for some unknown reason never clicked in my head that that was actually fire bending. I thought that was just some sort of other magic fire thing. I didn't think
Yeah.
it was actually bending,
Yeah.
but it is.
yeah. Is it ever explained how that actually works? Or
It's like
Nope.
long range fire bending, isn't it?
It
Yeah.
literally shoots it from. But I
He's
want to
just
know how he
shooting
gets it out his like third eye,
He's just
and why he
shooting
has a
explosion.
third eye.
Yeah.
I have so many questions, but it's the fact that it never occurred to me
Yeah.
that that was firebending. But yeah, I think we should probably stop here.
Yeah.
Because I think we've covered enough of the basic bases. Not basic bases. So yeah, I think we will sign off.
Good. Yeah, no, I'm happy with that.
Good.
Right. So, I have been Michael.
I have been CJ.
I've been Ian.
I've been Jenny, and we've been Combustion.
And Sparky Sparky Boom Boom.
Goodbye.
Yeah, that'll do.